Hi there. Another day in the lockdown shed. As you would have seen on the last video, I've screwed the body to the template. What I need to do now is to excavate this area to about 1 millimeter less than the thickness of the Rimu that's going to be inlaid. That's all reasonably simple, I guess. The problem I'm going to have now is here's my router. Actually, it's laminate trimmer, and it sits on the template here, and this cutter cuts out all of the edge. That's how I cut these out. The problem I'm going to have is, what about when I come into the middle here? I don't have this edge to sit on. So what do I have to do in the middle? I need something to bridge the gap all the way across, so that we have something constant. The solution I'm going to have a go at is this. I have a piece of plexiglass here, and this comes from an LCD computer monitor. All of your LCD monitors have this. It's I don't know, must be 8 or 9 millimeters thick. We'll have a quick look and see if I can do this one-handed. Yeah, there we go, 8 millimeters. So, what my focus, Mr. Camera. There we go. I think the plexiglass is going to have a problem with the focus. What my idea is, you see how it's got a similar sort of a thing on the base here, where the 4 screws are. What if I unscrew that? It's 2 halves, you see. What if I unscrew that and I take that square plexiglass panel closest to us now, I take it off and I put it in the cupboard, and in its place I put this. Then I will have a platform easily big enough, more than big enough for it. It would be nice to cut this, I guess, this plexiglass to the perfect size, but I'm a little hesitant to cut it. I would really hate to break it. I'll definitely cut it after I've done the job, but not before. If I break it after, it's not the end of the world. In order to cut this round hole here, which is necessary to allow the sawdust and crap to come flying out, what I'm going to have a go with is a hole saw. A hole saw on the drill. I think that's my best option, and to see if I can drill a nice neat hole. The 4 holes here, I'll drill in here with a drill and countersink them. Hopefully screw it on there and we'll be away laughing. Whether or not that's going to pay off and work out, I really don't know. If it doesn't, I'll have to come up with plan B, and I've got something in mind for that, but let's try and tackle this one first. So firstly, I need to unpack this, find the appropriate one in the drill, and drill a hole in here. And if that works, we'll be over the first hurdle. So I'm going to unpack this and set up the drill, and I'll put you in the overhead camera at the time of the drilling, and if it all turns to custard and shatters, well, we'll see it together. I'll see you when I've come back and set it up for you. Okay, hopefully you can see from up there. I can't see what you're seeing, so with a bit of luck you can see what I'm doing. I'll try to keep my head out of the way. I'm going to have a shot at this. Centres more or less, I don't know. We'll give it a crack there. We'll see what happens and see what happens. Well, we'll just give it a go. That doesn't look very central, does it? Wow. Seems to be burning it more than anything. Still, it's getting through. Now it's stuck. Okay. Now we'll have to undo the drill and see what we can do. I'm guessing it's melted itself in there. How are we going to extract that? I don't know. It's pretty hot. I don't know if you can do it like this. Okay. Oh, look, it's almost through too. What a shame, eh? I don't know whether we can have any luck getting that out. Let me have a think about this for a moment. I'll take a break a minute. I think I'm probably going to try and tap it out. But I've got to go and get the tool, so I'll come back in a minute. Well, I did get it out. I had to do it off camera and I had to use my persuader. What had happened was the piece that came out. It was as we thought. This generated so much heat that it kind of welded itself in there. And I had to get quite brutal with a hammer to get it out and then tidy up the edges with the rasp. So that might be a one step only tool. I think I'll probably ruin that one, but it was a very cheap one and I bought it just for this one job and the job's done. Now I've got to drill the 4 holes. Hopefully that won't be so dramatic. I'll see if I've got some throwaway type drills in case the same thing happens. So we have a hole. Well, we have a problem, and the problem is this. This is the thickness of the plate that came off, and this is the thickness of the plexiglass. See, there's a huge difference there, look. In itself that's not a problem, but these are the 4 screws that came out and they're just not long enough. You know, it's just, they're never going to fit. I've got a lot of screws, but I haven't got those ones. They got a very coarse thread and I don't have them. I'm sure I could get them, but seeing as we're currently in lockdown, I can't get them. So the whole thing has been a bit of a waste of time. Not to say that that's not a good idea and I won't revisit it at some stage, but for now I think the best idea is to clean up the bench here and put the plate back onto the router and go to plan B. I'll be back. Alright, so plan B will be a bit more basic, but it will still be fine, I think. What I'll be doing is putting a piece of double stick tape on this and putting it, for example, here, and then routing out all of this area. Then moving this, maybe like that, routing out all this area. Like this, routing out this area. I may have to cut a smaller block to go here, just to shorten this, to route out, well in fact I have to cut two. I'll have to have one here and a shorter one there and route out this area. Same sort of thing for here, so it's going to be a bit more tedious and a bit more of a nuisance, but the end result should be the same. I mean, it's a pity it didn't work, but the other one didn't work with plexiglass, but well, it is what it is. We'll get by. So what I've got to do next is to get the piece of Rimu, and we'll trim the edges up and get some exact measurements of its thickness, because the worst thing would be to route this too deep. So I'm going to go and grab a cup of coffee, and I'll go and measure that, and we'll come back and see how we go from there. So I cut a fresh edge off our piece of Rimu, and measurement from each side and one from the middle comes in at 12.5 millimeters, which is give or take half an inch, I think. Yeah, half an inch. Being that this would have been done during the days of Imperial New Zealand, you know, long before metric got here. But I've worked in metric all my life, so 12.5 millimeters it is. Now, that means that I'm going to route the body to 11 millimeters, giving me 1.5 millimeters, or 11.5 millimeters of this sitting proud of the body to sand down. I'm okay with that. It's going to be quite a lot of work sanding, but I'd rather spend a lot of time sanding and getting it right than trying to be clever and get too close to the wood and find I've run out and then spend a long time crying about it. So I'll put this piece of Rimu away, and I'll get the body here, and we'll have a look at beginning the routing process. It's going to take a while, but I'll show you some of it, and then I'll show you it completed. So 11 millimeters it is. Well, we've run into problem number 2, and this problem is going to end the proceedings for the day, and for maybe a few days. At worst, a few weeks. And here's the problem. With our router, that's as far, okay, close up, that's as far into the housing as the bit can go. So that's the smallest cut it can make. I'll just bounce this. The smallest cut it can make is this all the way. That's it. So we can see, if I use this piece of MDF, this is 18 millimeters. The smallest cut it can make is 22 millimeters, which is the size of the bit. Remember, 22 millimeters. The size of the depth of the cut we need to make on this is 11 millimeters. So this is just never going to work. And to make it absolutely crystal clear, here's the Rimu. If I can get this into focus for you. You see? So I need it to cut one cut halfway about there, or a bit less. I need to make it about there and then about here. But the smallest cut it can take is way more than the Rimu is thick. So this just isn't going to work at all. There's nothing I can do about it. I need another bit. Or if this template was twice as thick, that would be fine too. To make another template to match this one exactly perfectly with no mistakes, that's too much of an ask, I think, for me. I'd be better to make a new one out of a much thicker piece of material, and MDF doesn't come any thicker. So we're a bit kneecapped here. So I'm going to go inside now, clean this up, and I'm going to look for a smaller bit, bearing in mind that we're in lockdown, and even if I can find a smaller bit, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to turn up. So I can't think of anything else I can do at this stage. Never mind. This project's not going away, and if I have to wait a little bit longer, then so be it. But I didn't see this one coming, that's for sure. Alright, that'll do it for this one. I'll come back to you if I've got a better idea. See you later. Bye-bye.